Hi, this is Stephanie Freid. I am in Tel Aviv, and I'm in a voting station because today is a general election in Israel. And I decided that instead of giving a straight sort of information and statistics, I'm going to give you a little bit more close-up and personal about what it looks like inside of a polling station, what the process is here in Israel. Certainly in this election campaign, there's been a lot of speculation about whether the voting process is clean, i.e. legitimate. Are people trying to stuff the votes? There's been really nothing to prove that, but anyway, we're going to go in and not necessarily will we see whether people are trying to stuff the votes, but I'm going to sort of show you how the process works. So come on in with me. First of all, I'll give you an idea of where we are. This is a mixed area. I'm in a mixed voting. This is a mixed neighborhood. So this is a station. You have both Jewish voters and people from the Arab sector, which would be Christian, Muslim Arabs, who come to this specific polling station because it's a mixed area. So Gil, behind the camera, is going to show you just a bit so you can see there are signs in Arabic. Certainly we have a monitor here. We have monitors here who are Israeli Jews and Israeli Arabs who are Muslim and Christian, so it's very mixed. Here's a voter who just came out. I'm going to take you now. When people come in, they first sign in, they register here, and the guy who's sitting here isn't here right now, but we probably shouldn't be showing that. But okay, so they sign in, and then they go back here. And this down here, this would be the hallway. This is a school, by the way. And this is a school for, I think it's a grade school for children in this area, predominantly Arab children who go to school here. This is the Hassan Beck, is it right, the name of the school? Hassan Beck School. Hassan Arafat, sorry, Hassan Arafat. Hassan Beck is the name of a mosque that's close by, so I got confused. All right, when they come in and vote, then they go in, they go into here. And we're not going to go too deep into here because we don't want to break any election rules necessarily, but these are people who are coming out and they have just voted. This is where they come in, they show their IDs, as Gil is showing you. And this is actually the voting booth. So we're just giving you a sense of the room, and we can't really go too deeply in without breaking election rules. But that's you sort of saw it. I mean, nothing magical or special or extraordinary. And there are several, as you can see, people are coming, and there are several different rooms down the hallway here. It's pretty standard procedure voting. And also, what you'll see here behind me is there are police officers. They're also maintaining, making sure everything keeps in order, that there corruption or scandals that happen at the voting places, which we're already hearing today on voting day, that there may have been some scandal, there may have been some corruption, some attempt to fake some votes. We've already heard that one polling station has been shut down. That's been a big issue, that there's been a center around that issue, a lot of talk around that issue. Again, we haven't seen proof of it. I'll show you, when people go into the voting booths, by the way, they're faced with this, which these represent all the parties that are running. So basically, you'd have a little piece of paper with these letters on them, and each one stands for a different party. You take it, you put it in your special magic envelope, and then drop it into the ballot box, and that's basically how it works. So you kind of have to know your party, and like for an English speaker, like there are people who can help. Or English or Russian, or people who can help if they don't understand what they're reading or how to vote. So let's take a step outside a little bit. Got more voters. I will say this. Now, this is the second vote in Israel within the past half year, less than half year. And that's because the first time around, Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, he wasn't able to form a coalition, so Israelis are back at the polls again a few months later. And I would say that a few months ago, I personal observation, am seeing a lot more people streaming through this specific voting place. And specifically, I can say, and I was speaking with a woman earlier who representative of the Arab sector here, a lot more people within the Arab sector who are voting today. They're coming out to vote. And that's because they've been encouraged to vote, to have a voice, and for their numbers to be increased in the polls. I will talk to you about where I am and what's going on with the vote. As I explained earlier, we're in a mixed area. This is a mixed voting poll. And this is where people come in. So I'm going to give you a little bit of background on what's happening. Here's some more friendly police officers, we hope they're friendly, who are keeping an eye on the vote and making sure that everything's above board and legitimate. The latest that we're getting in terms of the numbers here and the information, that one report is saying that the highest number of voters, maybe in 30 years, there's the highest voter turnout possibly up to now. As well, the voter turnout now is higher than it was in April, the previous election. And that's good for the front-running parties. The front-running parties right now are Benjamin Netanyahu's Likud party and Benny Gantz's blue and white party. Benny Gantz's blue and white party is a centrist party. Benjamin Netanyahu's Likud party is a right-wing party. And the last time around, they were neck and neck. They were even with each other, but Benjamin Netanyahu, as I cited earlier, was tasked with forming a coalition, with forming a government. It didn't happen, and that's why here we are again today, talking to you live from a voting place in Jaffa, which is a mixed area of Israel. What happens next? So right now it's late afternoon in Israel. It's more than halfway, or about the halfway mark of voting. 7 more hours to go. When the polls close at 10 o'clock p.m. tonight, at that time the exit polls will be released right away, and that's going to show the results, preliminary results of where things stand. They're not necessarily reliable. Usually the exit polls give an indication, but they're not 100%. After those exit polls are released, then the front runners, which we predict are going to be, again, like I said, Benjamin Netanyahu's party and Benny Gantz's party, they're going to start talking about coalitions. They're going to start wheeling, dealing, and then it's going to be about who is most likely of those two parties to be able to form a coalition, and that's about which parties will join the various coalitions. And there's been tremendous speculation during the campaigning about who's going to go with who, but anything can change. It's all one big mystery, and the people who follow this closely, the political pundits, they love this, because this is the action. This is after the numbers come out. That's when everybody starts to sit down and get to the hard work of, can they form a government or not? It's important to note here, one thing before I close, is that as we head into the final stretch of this election, both of the lead candidates stand to be in legal trouble. Benjamin Netanyahu stands to be possibly indicted for corruption and bribery, and Benny Gantz, right now in The Hague, in the Netherlands, the district court is deciding whether or not to go take to trial a case against Benny Gantz. He's a former chief of staff, and he was the chief of staff during the 2014 Israel war in Gaza. And during that war, 6 members of one family, the Ziada family, they were killed. And they are taking their case to the International Criminal Court, saying that this represents a war crime. So there's some questionable legal issues surrounding both main players, if you will. But back to where we are again. Here we are, Jaffa, mixed area. This is a voting poll. This is a typical voting station in Israel. And you've got numerous of these. The people are voting throughout the day. And again, if this is the highest voter turnout, then we'll see the statistics later. But both of the lead parties are hoping that more and more and more and more people will keep coming and voting. So From Jaffa, this is Stephanie Freid for CGTN. I'm signing off now. Join me on social media to catch all the latest stories about Israel's election and beyond. And thank you for being with me today.